For me, it doesn't really affect me. I'm just so focused on the mission and the training. And gosh, I got a Navy background. I've been flying off carriers and doing night landings and dealt with pitching decks in bad weather. So you just kind of get immuneness in a sense to the environment around you, and you deal with it. And that's pretty much my attitude with regard to the 9/11 events. And I guess I have more concern maybe for my family. I just want to do everything I can to put them at ease. And I know that NASA has done a wonderful job in coping with the necessity for new security measures, and I think they've done a good job in doing that and have given comfort to me and my crewmates, and in particular our families along those lines.
That was the late Commander William McCool. Joining us now on the phone is Walter Cronkite, former anchor and managing editor of the CBS Evening News. He's anchored CBS's coverage of multiple space shots and the Apollo Moon program, of course. Scott Carpenter is in Phoenix, Arizona. It's good to see him again. One of the original Mercury 7 astronauts. He flew America's second manned orbital flight on May 24th of 1962. In Traverse City, Michigan, is Jerry Linenger, former NASA astronaut and retired U.S. Navy Medical Corps captain. He flew on the STS-64 aboard the shuttle Discovery. In Houston is Alan Bean, former NASA astronaut, retired U.S. Navy captain, was lunar module pilot for Apollo 12, the second lunar landing, and was the fourth man to step on the moon. And in Washington is Senator Bill Nelson, Democrat of Florida, one of the leading congressional experts on NASA. And while a member of the House, he served as chairman of the subcommittee on science, space, and technology, trained and flew as a crew member of STS-61C, a six-day mission to the Columbia in January of '86. Scott, what's your reaction to the occurrence this morning? Scott Carpenter first.
Okay, Larry, I think it is important now for us to do two things. First, to express our condolences to the bereaved families. And the second, maybe even more important, is to realize that space exploration has become and will continue to be a vital part of our national character. We lost some wonderful young men and women today, but there are many more coming along who will gladly take their place. We will find the problem. We will select the way to cure it. We will be in flight again soon because it is part of the national character. All you have to do is admit that the benefits justify taking the risks. Many are willing to do that.
Yeah.
We will persevere and we will prevail, and we will get back soon on the road to Mars.
Walter Cronkite, do you think that the public at large was taking it as just another day and had lost interest generally in the daily coverage of space?
No, I don't believe anybody, Larry, can think of this as just another day. It's really, it seems that we are destined to be reminded from time to time of the dangers that we face in the exploration of space. We become pretty blasé about the success of our shuttle flights and begin to pay little attention to them until our attention is called by a tragedy like this one today. And I was thinking so much of Scott Carpenter today, and it's a delight to be with you, Scott, on this particular occasion. Sorry that we've got this occasion to do it on, but I remember Scott Carpenter's re-entry into the atmosphere after the second Mercury flight, and the communications went out. And while the space control was getting information, telemetry that indicated that he was all right and gotten through this black period coming into the extreme pressure of the atmosphere from outer space, we did not know that he was all right for almost 45 minutes. And we understood how dangerous it was getting back into the atmosphere with that extreme heat on that speeding vehicle. And most of us thought that we lost Scott.
Yeah, I remember that well. Let me ask Jerry Linenger, what is it like in re-entry?
Re-entry is very dynamic. You're inside a fireball. Everything's moving around you. A lot of vibration, violent. You know that you are on the edge. Any astronaut that's flown in space during re-entry, I think, realize it is a critical phase of flight, and if something goes a little bit wrong, you're out of control.
And what do you mean by a little bit wrong? Give me an example.
It doesn't take much. Well, if you're, for example, your guidance or your control, if you tip the wing a little further than it should be tipped, if a tile comes undone in a critical spot, you've got fire all around, you've got tremendous heat, especially at Mach 18, you got about 3,000 degrees on the underbelly of the shuttle, and if you've got a weak link in there, if you've got a missing tile, it melts through the aluminum, hits a critical component, and once that chain reaction of bad things starts happening, it's a runaway train, and that's what we got into today.
Alan Bean, was re-entry a concern for you?
I'd say so. Of course, launch is the most critical time because that's the time when most things have to work right. Entry is the second most critical, and these two things stand out among all of them because they're about the only two times in space flight where you get doing something, and if something starts to go wrong a little bit, you can't stop and fix it. In launch, you're just going to keep launching, and you may discover you've got a problem, and if it can't solve itself almost, you're sunk. In the same way with entry. You start entering in gravity and speed, you're going to keep entering until you've slowed down greatly, and if something starts to go wrong, and as Jerry says, it doesn't take much. We forget sometimes how difficult it is to fly a spaceship in from Mach 20 all the way down to landing speed at about Mach 0.3 and have it work right. It just seems like it's easy, but it's not. It takes our best engineering and skill.
Senator Nelson, before we take a break, were you concerned about landing when you went up?
Larry, you stuff any kind of fear. You're so focused on what you're doing, but you realize the risk. And it's a part that the crew understands, but the American people think that it's as routine as getting in a car and taking a Sunday afternoon drive. It isn't.
We'll take a break and come right back with our outstanding panel. Don't go away.
It's a truly difficult day for all of us. Many of us were standing alongside the runway waiting to celebrate their triumphant return after a 16-day science mission. Sadly, I think from the video that's available, it does not appear that there were any survivors.